This analysis is going to run perfectly today, don't you think?
Long story short, CDs are huge. When you're looking at the small size of something like custom maps or mods or whatever for an FPS game, someone could very easily join a forum or bulletin board, burn everything they can find onto a disk, thousands and thousands of files, and sell the result, legally, kinda. For gaming, this was the dawn of shareware CDs, or shovelware CDs, indiscriminate bathtubs full of, well, stuff. Deathmatch maps, random game demos, software that might do nothing at all, whatever. It turns out everyone capitalizing on this data harvesting market made these files even easier to archive and preserve. How else would I be here looking at Half-Life add-ons, made in 2000 by some dude? Probably more than one person, actually. There's no credits on the disc, but I will thank Xiomon for uploading this and the Internet Archive for keeping all these CDs around in the first place. Half-Life's 1998 release date placed it at almost the tail end of the CD genre of a bunch of levels and programs taken off the web, common for Doom and Duke Nukem before. Maybe this lawsuit in '96 started making people jumpy about just taking game levels and putting them on a disc, or maybe it was just the internet getting bigger and easier for people to download stuff from. Either way, Half-Life add-ons is part of a rare breed, since there's only a few other map packs for Half-Life at all, including an official one by Valve. I'll probably get into more of these in the future, but this is a good place to start. The CD introduces itself with a very minimal menu, basically just opening up a folder for you. Out of 32 folders on this disc, I'm going to be taking a pretty quick jaunt through these, and I'll start with some fun ones. Themes contains what appears to be 10 different Windows 9X themes for Half-Life and Unreal, though only 3 of them are both unique and also functioning. There's this Unreal one, this Half-Life one using a prototype screenshot for a wallpaper, and a second Half-Life one with the Lambda logo. I'll go ahead and show off some of the sound effects on this one.
Warning, blood toxin levels detected.
Unauthorized.
And we have a Winamp skin, complete with a couple MP3s from the game to try it out on. Now this CD was made in 2000, a couple years after Half-Life was published, but it seems to have a combination of retail and pre-release materials on it. The Movies folder is full of prototype footage from Valve's Preliminary Findings CD, and even has a video from the scrapped first revision of Team Fortress 2. This screensaver here is made entirely of pre-release screenshots, and is pretty nice. The Wallpapers folder is probably my favorite part of this section of the CD. Some of these are a bit amateur, sure, but the amount of following the game had even before coming out interests me. A couple that caught my eye in particular were this fancy 3D one by Chris Hall, and this 3D rendered one with drawn elements mixed in by Ryan Markley. The prefabs folder, and also these 4 folders too, are full of, well, prefabs. Pieces of map modeling that you could paste into your own projects. These include makeshift vehicles, rooms, turrets, buildings, and all sorts of things. The Utilities folder has a few loose files and applications for compiling maps, making custom player models, etc. The MISC folder contains some more compilers and programs, including a program to check for the CIH Windows virus. Editors has a few different Quake map editors under the names of QE Radiant, Cool with a Q, and Quark. We have Q-Tracker, a server tracking software for various FPS games. We also have Ping Tool, another server tracking thing. Internet Utils has an installer for GameSpy on it. Oh, and Textures has, well, textures for potential map makers. That pretty much covers it for the developer and server surfer parts of the CD, so now I can move on to the actual things you can use in-game. As far as stuff you can actually pick up and play, this CD has a lot both made by Valve and Half-Life fans. First off, the Uplink demo and Team Fortress Classic are just here if you want them. There's a few things in the mods folder, including 2 versions of Counter-Strike.
Okay, let's go.
But one of them was a 30-day installer that expired a long time ago. The other 4 are a lot more interesting. First, we have an older version of Rocket Crowbar, a deathmatch mod that makes everything very silly and amped up.
You are from...
There's also Oz Deathmatch, which seems to be a minimal deathmatch mod that includes a neat grappling hook. On a streak of deathmatch mods, we have One Hit Killa, a gameplay mod inspired by the Rainbow Six games in which weapons have much less ammo, but are, well, one-hit kills. Finally, we have KTK, or Kill the King, and this one even comes with its own maps. If I load in here, the maps seem pretty limited and my pistol shoots kinda broken. Huh. Guess I should see if there's a readme for this thing or something, or oh my. There's a lot. It basically seems to be a rudimentary class-based fantasy version of Half-Life Deathmatch. It seems kinda glitchy and weird, and it's almost eerie going around these empty maps, but otherwise it's forgettable, I guess? Hell, you probably couldn't even get this working on a newer version of Half-Life at all, so this is as obscure as it gets. Practically stuck between the couch cushions of FPS history. If none of the mods are your cup of tea, this CD has you covered. Not only is there a top 10 maps folder with a collection of deathmatch maps, but a larger maps folder with nearly 200 deathmatch maps, a few single-player maps, a low bandwidth version of Half-Life Uplink, and even a collection of maps for Team Fortress Classic. I'm not going to get into these completely, we'd be here for at least a couple hours, but I will say I looked at a few of them and they have a sort of mystery, a charming, I guess you could say rusticness to them. This was people figuring out Gold Source for the first couple years of it even existing, and that's fun to see. I think I'll give these maps a closer look some other time. On the topic of multiplayer, we also have over 50 deathmatch skins to choose from. There's a lot of these, so I'll just show some of my favorites here. That should pretty much cover the contents of the CD, except for maybe some demo files that I couldn't get working, but there's one more folder I've been saving for last. Sounds. Rather than being sound effects from the game or anything like that, these are humorous kinds of sentence mixes or skits, made out of Half-Life dialogue, like this.
Greetings!
Hello, Dr. Romeo.
Did you understand that last announcement?
Yes,
You can't be serious.
I am. Romeo is a ass.
Shut up.
Security, kill Romeo now.
Did you understand that last announcement?
It's almost like the ancient ancestor of those TF2 videos with the heads floating in space. That makes them ahead of their time by over a decade, so hey. One of them in particular stood out to me though, so I took some extra time to edit some visuals together for it.
This is shit. Got it. Yes, sir. Damn. Damn it. Get out! No! Secure the area. The radio is shot.
Now this file is from January of 1999. This means it predates Aphex Twin's album Drux by 2.5 years, and was made before Window Licker even came out.
Oh my.
It would be pretty easy for me to say this random file on a Half-Life Shovelware CD counts as the first Aphex Twin meme. I'm not particularly sure what to do with that information, but it's all yours now. I appreciate your time in checking out this chunk of Half-Life fan history. I have links to the CD and a few other resources in the description if you want to take a closer look yourself. I had to use an older, non-Steam version of Half-Life to get the mods and stuff working, but otherwise it's all pretty easy to access. Thanks, and have fun.